a bit of news came out which relates to what we talked about last week and also ties in with the Dreamcast, so we're going to talk about it. Scotty, do you want to talk about the news?
Yeah, sure. I posted this on the site only because Marcin wasn't available, our registered Shenmue nut. But no, so what happened during Crunchyroll had the virtual Crunchyroll Expo, and they announced a Shenmue anime series coming out. 13 episodes. Very little is known on it, other than it'll be a collaboration between Crunchyroll and Adult Swim. Yu Suzuki is actually serving as the executive producer, and the director of this was the director of One Punch Man Season 2 and Majimoji Rurumo. Sorry.
Nailed it.
Perfect. First try. I don't know that one, but One Punch Man I do know. But all they've said is it's going to basically be a retelling of the video game stories, and which I think is cool. But they have not said how far in it'll go or how if it's going to complete the epic tale or not yet. So I don't think there's a date or anything. Otherwise, there's very little information. So it's literally, they said 13 episodes. They do have a cool piece of art for it. It's called Shenmue the Animation. So
I'll say this, like, I would like it. I think it would be fun just for it to be cover the first two games, like the first season. Like I would rather, because I think it would be more fun to go back and relive those memories that you played those like first games, but in like a new animated form. I think it would be really cool just to see all the different scenes with like Ryu, like, you know, a lot of the fights could be more fleshed out. I think it would be really neat to go back and just kind of show the first, you know, kind of original story, or as the story began in the Dreamcast games. Start with that.
I'd like to see these 13 episodes just do the first game, and hopefully have a second season of 13 episodes for the second game, and then another one for the third game. Because I reckon 13 episodes would be great to actually tell the story, have the action scenes and stuff in. I feel like if they've got 2 or 3 of the games like story length in there, it's not going to be enough episodes really. So then you've got like three maybe 4 episodes per game. That doesn't really work for me, I don't think, unless the episodes are an hour long or something. But I imagine they're going to be like 20 minutes long or something, because it's
you could do that in Shenmue 3 because like the first half of the game you're not even really doing anything.
Fair enough. I guess at the end of episode Shenmue 2 as well, there's not much going on either, but you know, one thing I love about this news is, because if you're not a regular listener or watcher of the show, last week we're actually talking about this news because there's something was hinted and teased at. Scotty was going to say something.
I called this.
Yes.
I called this last episode, but I called this years ago when I was talking to my buddies Josh and John about this. I'm like, this was probably like 2008 or something. And I was like, just finish it in an anime. It wouldn't be the same thing as the games. It wouldn't capture the atmosphere as well. Just finish it in an anime. Freaking check the timestamp, people. I call this.
Yeah, but it's so good because last week we were talking about this. We were talking about different ideas like a comic book form, and Scotty said an anime or something. But Crazy. Also, one of you mentioned about it being about like in a similar style to One Punch Man or something around One Punch Man, and here we go. The people involved in One Punch Man is in it. So this is great. I love it.
It's crazy.
Great. And I really hope we get to see him riding the bus, as you said, like just standing on the bus like a psycho.
Yeah.
And also just responding awkwardly to questions like, okay. And then just turning around and walking off.
Yeah. Something that captures Shenmue, I'm not going to say perfectly, but really well, is one of the website Giant Bomb. A fan always puts together best of from their streams and gameplay videos and stuff like that. Find the one that is I don't remember what it's titled. I'll find it and throw it in the podcast info. But it's them playing Shenmue 3, and there are parts where like Ryu's talking to an old lady, and he's like, "Have you seen anyone wearing a blue shirt?" And the old lady like awkwardly looks up at him and says, "Red skirts? No." and there's another part where he's standing like 10 feet from that large gentleman that is teaching kids kung fu or something. He's like far away from him and like showing him a piece of paper, like asking if he's seen whatever looks like this. Is like, dude, he cannot see that, but that's Shenmue. And it's So I think I do want to comment on your idea of it being each game, each season, Graham. Mm-hmm. I don't want to crush your dreams, but I could see them guaranteeing to not do that because that's what Suzuki wanted to do with the games, and it's taken this long just to get to the third game. You know what I mean? So I feel that this might be a way for them to condense the story and do it a couple episodes at a time for each game. But I think the main thing we have to keep in mind, the majority of the Shenmue games and Shenmue experience is doing nothing. So I think the anime is going to kind of bypass that a little bit because you're not going to have Ryo. You're like the anime is not going to go into a first person view. Or if it was only looking at Ryo and the things he does, then it would be a lot of just Ryo staring at walls and trying to read store signs and like looking at fish on a platter. It could be a great comedy, like
where someone just played the game and just like voiced everything.
Yeah. It's just,
but I think what I'm saying overall is like, I'm sorry, I'll say my last thing and then I'll be done with Shenmue. But like, I think this is the way to get more of the story out there to a wider audience because those games are not, they're so hard to introduce to people and convince that they're good because they are good for a group that is diehard and they are good in terms of what they what they set for open world games, but there's like 5 different fan bases of Shenmue. Like there's the people that respect it, the people that love it, the people that are like, what's wrong with you? Why do you like this game? So I think this is a good way to squeeze it all together. But also I kind of hope that they don't finish the story with this anime because then at that point, what's the point of having more games, which is what people want out of Shenmue.
Yeah.
So
that's fair.
Yep.
What were you going to say, Graham? I
was just going to say that, my issue with it, if they were to like try and do all the games in like one season, is that yes, a lot of the games is just walking around like doing nothing, essentially, just like walking around talking to people. But
which is what I love about it.
But that's kind of part of what, especially in the first game. Ryo is trying to solve like a mystery of who these mysterious people are who just came to this house and stuff. So I feel like there needs to be that story of development. And for Xbox players, the original Xbox players who got Shenmue 2, they actually had the Shenmue movie disc with the game.
Right.
So it kind of retold the original game. And that was like a proper full-length movie. But that was still condensing down to all the main parts of the story and was also the exciting action bits. So I think it's totally possible to do it and keep it interesting. But I guess we'll see what happens. Let's watch this space and see where they actually go with this, because that'd be really interesting.
Yeah, I will say also one thing I'm legitimately excited for. The second game is really revolves around fights, and I'm very excited to see how, because anime is anime, I'm very excited to see how they portray those fights and make them so much more action-oriented than QuickTime events. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that'll be cool to see.
Cool. Yeah, excellent. So let's wrap that bit of news up for now, and we'll watch this space and see what happens. We'll try and get back to you if we hear anything more.